Hey Aries, welcome to March. March is named after you. Remember, March is named after Mars, the Roman god of war. It came from the Latin word maritus, which is the first month of the Roman calendar. So you are ruled by Mars, Aries, and so this month is all about you. So we have Mercury heading into your sign on 3/3 in the fiery sign of Aries. The sun's going to move into Aries on 3/20. We have Venus presently in Aries, and we have Neptune moving into Aries at the end of the month. All right. So you've had, like, you haven't had planets in your sign in a while. Your ruling planet Mars was retrograding for the past, I don't know, 6 weeks maybe. So it's exciting now that during March, your ruling planet Mars is now going direct, although it's still in the sign of Cancer, but sooner or later it will be into the sign of Leo, which I think will be easier time for you, Aries, because Mars in Cancer is slow moving. It's not how you like things. And so I think you're going to start to feel like more like yourself, and then you're going to start to feel really empowered as these planets move into your sign. And out of that watery sign of Pisces, that can cause delays and slow things down the way that you don't like it. Okay, so there's kind of like with these planets moving from Pisces to Aries, and they're going to be kind of retrograding back and forth a bit. It's almost like you're going to have like spotlight moments, and then you're going to have to go back into introspection moments. And so just be able to roll with that. Like if you start to feel forward movement and you start to feel like yourself again, don't get discouraged if it goes back a little bit, because that's what's going to happen. Okay. Now we're kind of going back over everything that's been happening since October 6th, because Mars went direct and it's kind of making its swoop back over everything that happened. So you may have some things that were going on back then in October resurface now. Now remember, this month we have the new moon in Aries, and we also have a solar eclipse along with it. This is going to be at the end of the month at March 29th at 6:58 a.m. So we're going to have all these planets in Aries, and it's going to be sextile Pluto, which is considered a positive aspect. And your ruling planet Mars is going to be trining Saturn at the same time, which is considered a positive aspect. We're also going to have a solar eclipse. So this is going to be a really, really powerful time for you. Remember, solar eclipse bring us something, but before we get brought something, we have to go through the purge of the Virgo full moon and lunar eclipse back on the 14th. Okay, so make sure you do your purging work. Go back and listen to the month ahead if you haven't about the purging work, and then get ready for these gifts to come during the solar eclipse. So this is pretty exciting times. Um, I wrote down for you a quote. I'm not even sure where I got it from. I think it was from feeling like that you were going to really reap the benefits during the solar eclipse. And I wrote the change you didn't even know you needed. So that's kind of interesting, right? The change you didn't even know you needed. And let it be positive and bring wonderful things so that you can feel even better. Okay. Now, what we're going to do here is I'm going to pull you some cards here. I'm using this um, wheel, this zodiac wheel here that I took from Teresa Reed, the tarot lady. I was taking one of her courses, and she presented this wheel, so I just kind of blew it up a little bigger, and I thought we could place some cards on it for the month, so you can get a real understanding of themes here for you during the month of March. Okay, so we're starting off here with house number 1. And this first house is the house that you own, Aries. This is your house. This is the first house of the zodiac. This is like your childhood. This is where it all starts. This is as your brain develops. And Aries actually rules the head. And so this is property of Mars. This is your house of your image, who you are, kind of like almost like branding yourself, the images, because it's associated with the term I am. So this is who you are. On this sheet, it says your physical body, although I tend to think of the second house a little bit more as your physical body. It's definitely this area of your body. Okay, so we're starting off here with the 3 of challenges, or the 3 of swords. Now, interesting, it's almost like the dad crying, the kids in the background. And we were just saying that Aries is the child of the zodiac. So there might be some old memories coming up, might be some things about your father or things about your siblings that are coming up, but it's okay. It's a good time to come up. Remember, we said we're going to have that purge of Virgo. And I was saying in the month ahead that I saw it as a great time to look through old photographs and stuff and kind of go through. Sometimes we have, like, I know I have like every photo ever taken from when I was growing up because, it was a big deal to get things printed back then. So it's nice to kind of go through those things and thin it down and get rid of some. Maybe it'll feel good during that purge of that Virgo full moon to get rid of some that maybe, aren't the best photo or, and just keep the good ones. Okay. So we see some little bit of pain there in the first house. Now the second house is Taurus's house. It's your house of value. It's a Venus house because Taurus is ruled by Venus. It's associated with money, but it's also associated with anything that's important to you, especially relationships. And here's the star card. So the star card's here, and it's skull cap. And I know skull cap is one of the ingredients in some of our sleep tinctures. So I think it's pretty calming. And the star is Aquarius energy. It's your first major arcana that showed up. This is from the Herbal Tarot by Michael Tierra. And so this is the water bearer, and she's pouring out what isn't serving her. Okay. So there's some energy of like calm and getting the rest that you need with skull cap there, purging out some of what you don't need. I often think of the star card as a purging card. So there's some things here that maybe can be poured out, can be let go of. So you can rest a little better and you can purge. Okay. Now, how you think and learn and communicate, this third house, that's property of Gemini. It's a house of communication. It has to do with your environment, like your siblings or your coworkers or your neighbors, the people around you. Didn't mean to get two cards, but I got two cards, and they're from the Salvador Dali tarot deck back there. And I don't work with this one too much. It's a little hard to read, but I do appreciate Dali, and my pendulum picked these decks and it really wanted to be here. So you've got looks like the Six of Swords here. And, it looks like a boat. I don't know what's in the boat. It almost looks like a horse's skull. But we see forward movement. Okay, so that's the Six of Swords. Swords is air. This is an air house in the third house. So there might be some forward movement with some of the thoughts, some of the plans that you have. It's often seen as a travel card. And then the Page of Coins shows up here. And the Page of Coins, this is an interesting picture. It's kind of young energy around money or young energy around anything that's of value. Okay. So you I almost got like that you're taking a trip. Maybe you're going to visit family. Um, almost like maybe you've saved for this trip. Okay. Which makes it more interesting to me that this Tears card came up there in the first house. So, okay, that's your third house. Let's see what you have going on in the fourth house. This is Cancer's house. It's ruled by the moon. It has themes of your home, your root, your family, how you nurture yourself. It's a water house. It's considered a psychic house. And you got a water card here, the Keeper of Visions, which would be the Queen of Cups. I think that's a catfish, which are kind of like bottom feeders, I think. And so, kind of almost getting to the bottom of something. I don't know why I get the impression that you're like on the road traveling to visit family, and maybe you're getting to the bottom of some things with them. But there's definitely like emotional availability, like people are there to like talk some things out, get to the bottom of some things. So you've got the Queen of Emotions there. So it's an emotional time, but it's like you're going to get grounded here. You're going to get to the bottom of it. Now, the fifth house is Leo's house of fun, the house of creativity, of romance, of children, because children have so much joy in their heart. And in the fifth house, you have the Nine of Cups, and it's squaw vine is the plant. I don't really know that plant, but there's 9 cups, and they're all lined up. So we know that there's a lot of emotion, right? A lot of cups, but everything's lined up. They're kind of sitting down, and there's a lot of like calm energy here. And so kind of just Maybe your fun is just resting or just connecting emotionally with others right now. I like the fact that she's just kind of sitting in it. Okay. And it's coming in next to get into the bottom of things, just sitting in it, showing up for the conversations. Okay. Virgo's house is next. Remember, we have a Virgo full moon this month with a lunar eclipse that's here to help us remove some things, to purge some things. And so in Virgo's house of work, routines, health, I think of the sixth house as like your day job or your contribution to the world. It's a house of service versus servitude. And the seven of spells is showing up. And this is the seven of wands. And I like how like they're all like circled around here, this dragon, trying to see what to make of it. Right. And so I just think that's all your family kind of checking you out, see what to make of you. All right. So there's a lot going on. There might be a lot of people's opinions. Try not to spread yourself too thin this month. Now, as we get into the seventh house is Libra's house, and it's the house of relationships. And on this sheet, it says legal issues, and I'd like to change that to legal matters, right? I don't want legal issues. I want legal matters. I want to buy property and to sign contracts, and this is the house of marriage, okay? So the seventh house, Venus's house, you got the death card, and it says elderflowers. Now, this isn't such a bad thing to see in that house because remember, death is Scorpio, death is death and rebirth, power. It has to do with other people's money, it has to do with sex, and this is the house of relationships, okay? This is also an inheritance card. Okay, so there could be some good legal matters coming up for you. Elderflowers, don't they use, I know they use like elderberry for immune protection, right? So there's something here, some form of protection, and there's like, I don't know what elder's high in. I keep like thinking, I don't know why I keep thinking molasses, but it's elder, syrupy, it's sweet. But I want to say it's like high in iron or something. I know it's, so you might want to look up what is elder high in because there's something here that it might be the right plant for you also. And again, we have an in-house naturopath. If you want to talk to them about any plants, Dr. Eugene Zampirion. He's really great. I'm working with him myself. He's very helpful. And you can find him on our website, which is $99 for a tongue diagnosis. And it's amazing what they can tell from your tongue. All right, now we move into Scorpio's house. So I just explained some Scorpio things. Death and rebirth, other people's money, combined monies. And on this sheet, it says joint finances, taxes, sex, and death. Okay, so it's a lot of intensity. And you have the Four of Spells. And it looks like they're heading off to a little party. It's like a magical kind of evening going on here. And so you're being invited in. There's something very magical. All right. So I get good vibes from it. Scorpio's house inviting you in. It's also the house of your ancestors. It's a very psychic house. Okay. So you're being invited. And four is a pause number. And remember, water signs need more rest. And this is the eighth house. It's a water house. Okay. So make sure that you, because this almost feels like a dream world. So make sure you're getting the rest and the dream time that you need. Now we're up here in Sagittarius's house, and the sheet says this is the house of travel, the higher mind, the house of religion, but also can be the house of, it's like both extremes, religion and the breaking free of it. This is also associated with publishing, teaching. Okay, I just think of it as a house of expansion, of big things, of higher things, very lucky things. And you have the Page of Cups here, another Salvador Dali card, and very, very abstract, right? Almost looks like owl eyes up here. So Page of Cups knows how to have a good time, young energy. That's the cup of satisfaction. So make sure that you're taking the time out for that, that you're really giving the attention to what brings you joy here. Now, they're also like an owl, another bird over there. This is the house of travel, so there could be some flight in the future. Okay. Now remember, we're not planning, like right now we can plan, we can we can research, we can get things ready, but we're in so many retrogrades, it's really not a great time to make big decisions. Now we're going into the 10th house, which is Capricorn's house. It's the house of your career, but also it's your long-term standing in the world, right? Not everybody has a career. Some people, some parents stay home and raise their kids and have put their time and energy into that. So this isn't just the house of your career. This is your long-term standing. These are the things that are important to you. This is the house of your legacy, your reputation. It's also the house of fame and the house of awards, and you have the high priest here. And this is the Hierophant, and it's the Sage card. Okay, so you got this wise person here in the house here. So this is like getting a helpful advisor. This is getting some help in those areas, but there's a lot of power there. And it's also a 5, which is a number of change. So there may be some changes going on regarding your career. You may be looking for some advice, okay? And this is a good time to do that. Now, it's almost like with the Page of Cups there, it almost feels like you're going to get some advice on how you can like get the rest that you need and get the travel in that you want, and how to bring in the right advisors and the right helpers to get you to do that. Now, we're into the 11th house, which is Aquarius's house, and this is the house of newness, new ideas, new technology. This is also the house of friends and your hopes and your dreams. On here it says friends, social life, goals, and hopes. And you got the Strength card. And I really love that. And I love that there's a humongous wolf next to her. So she's super protected. And we're talking about your social life and your friends. And this is a Leo card, Strength, and it just feels just right. And it feels simple and natural and lovely. And so there's a lot of really good vibes there in your 11th house. Now, so far, you've had one major arcana here in the 2nd house, one over here in the 7th house, 10th house, and 11th house. Okay, so the major arcanas, or the major teachers, that are the ones that have more umph, right? So you got more umph in the 2nd house, the 7th house, the 11th house, or 10th house, 11th house. So get to know those houses more, because that's more where this energy is showing up for you. Now we're into Pisces house, the last house of the zodiac. This is the house, they call it the house of the undoing, or the self undoing. I like to think of undoing a braid, right? And like undoing the things that don't work anymore, undoing karma. It's also the house of secrets, okay? And you've got the King of Wands here. He doesn't look like he's going to be messed with. And this is from the Impressionist Tarot. And so these are all famous paintings. Okay, so in your 12th house, you have a painting by Edouard Manet. You must remain master of the situation and do what you please. That's pretty wild. Okay, it says kings are active rulers and protectors willing to safeguard their realms and ensure the right of their countrymen. When the King of Wands appears in a tarot reading, you can expect your work to be defended too, even if you have made out your own form of justice. Even if you have, it says meet out? I think that's an error. Must be made. Even if you have made out your own form of justice. Okay, so you can expect your work to be defended. Expect your work to be defended. Well, he definitely looks like he's defending himself. Okay, but you have a lot of power here. So, Pisces house, we find a king of power. So the only way to get the power, the 12th house is the house of retreating. So you got to retreat back almost and gain your power. Okay. It's coming in across from, well, in the picture, it almost looks like it's right across from the death card, right? But technically the 6th and the 12th are across from each other. It's very interesting that the 12th house has so much power going on there. So, but it looks like he just like almost stepped onto his balcony. And so maybe he was in his bedroom, right? So make sure that you're retreating back so that you can maintain your power and your stamina. Okay. All right. Now I'm going to roll. Oh, I know what I want to do. I want to put a card in the middle. This is going to be the theme card. Oh, and this one's jumping out, and it's the Ace of Pentacles. Look at that Ace of Pentacles. Okay, this is not a bad theme card at all. You've got this gigantic pentacle. You've got like this castle. You've got all these sheep. And aren't you the ram, right? And so you've got this Ace of Pentacle here, and it almost looks to me like this was somebody's summer house, and it's been kind of nobody's been there for a while. And that's kind of what it feels like to me, to you, Aries, because like all these planets have been in Pisces, and they're all getting ready to come to you. So it's almost like getting prepared, getting ready. Aces, you never complain about an ace. It's fresh energy, but it feels lucky. Okay, it also has to do with finances. So something big, big pentacle coming your way. All right. And what you're being asked to do is look at some of your emotions, do some of the purge, use the Virgo full moon and lunar eclipse this month on the 14th to help you with that purge. I see maybe that you're going through some old photographs. You've got a lot of power in your chart. Make sure that you're making the time for play and make sure that you're getting able to get the sleep that you need because you seem like you have a very active um, sleep world, and make sure that you're getting enough time there. I got the impression that you were visiting family, getting to, or you're just getting to the bottom of things emotionally, and this is a really good thing. And really, all you're being asked to do is kind of sit in it, speak your truth, and be willing to move forward. Thank you, Aries.